I started last year on allopurinol to flush my gout crystals out.
Yeah, does it work?
Yes, I've actually, it takes a while to get everything out, but so it actually got worse than it got better.
Yeah.
To get a gout. I see what you did
Get out
there.
of here.
All right, hang on. Let's do a reset. I gotta let a lot go, Tom. I got a lot on my mind.
Let it go.
We are live.
We are
That's all right.
live.
Yes.
Oh, hi.
Have we been live for all the gout talk?
Maybe a bit of it.
God damn it. Wow. Okay,
Gout out,
new policy.
brief
We gotta have some kind of on-air side. That'll be a project. We'll make an on-air side.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah,
hilarious.
it is considered de rigueur to make sure that everyone knows when you're live so that no one talks about their gout.
There's
I
gout.
remember hearing go live when it gets interesting.
Yeah,
And I
oh,
was
you know what?
super
Actually-
interested.
These are,
That's a good-
there's a lot of competing
Legit
priorities.
pushback. Legit
Yeah.
pushback.
That's true. That's true.
How does our wide shot look?
That's why the on-air side's perfect, right?
Oh, great.
You know.
That's great. Everyone can see this bag. I love it.
Did
we
you
go.
see my bag?
Whoa. Oh, hold on, sir. I beg your pardon.
Hey, did you see this tiny little mouse?
Is that a mouse?
It's a travel mouse.
I love it.
Yeah. It's a travel mouse that turns on when you unfold it.
That's a mouse. Look at that.
Yeah. It's like the Microsoft Arc, but it's a little smaller and it's from Logitech and it turns off when you fold it up.
This past trip, I finally buckled it. I was like, what if I took a rad mouse with me, like a really good
Yeah.
gaming mouse? And then I was like, why am I ever doing anything other than that? Why? Like, it's the one piece of the computer you touch the most. Why would I skimp
It's the
on
one
that?
piece. Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
Okay.
We got Charles Rubach in the chat. We got Signed in the chat. We got W. Scottis One in the
Finally.
chat.
Oh my gosh. Willie Scott.
Okay.
I
All
miss
right.
seeing the chat. I should open it up.
Man.
Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll stop complaining and take action.
Yes.
Stop bitching. Start a revolution.
Sure.
Zendik Farm.
I'll get right on that.
You don't remember Zendik Farm? I remember we had this conversation and you didn't remember that.
I didn't remember it last time. This time, I almost didn't remember the last time that we talked about it. So maybe my brain is too smooth to hold on to Zendik Farm.
Yeah. You're a smooth operator.
Yeah, that's an insult. Boy, if you want to have your finger on the pulse of top insults, read the YouTube comments. Immerse yourself in the raw feed. Smoothest
So
brain
Sine
on
Wave
the
says,
internet.
hi, I fight you on Apple AI, Tom. I don't have a position for you to attack. I think you misinterpreted
I know that Sine is very bullish, so if you've expressed skepticism, he probably is fired up about that.
I interviewed someone expressing skepticism.
Yeah.
And I haven't been 100% praiseworthy. So if there's that.
Sine gave a report this morning that, by the way, I love this. During live streams, when literally you just want to kind of ping pong back with someone, but you don't actually want to co-host, Sine records like a 9-minute video. I'm able to press pause on him and then talk and interrupt all I want and then resume on it. It's pretty great.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Nicely done, Sine Wave.
But he was saying that it took nearly a week to index all of the info on his phone. So it basically cooks up a Sine flavored LLM for him on device.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. All right.
Ready.
Shall we talk about the oldest son from Succession?
Oh, yes. Yes. I thought you were talking about the Social Network sequel, the Social Reckoning.
that too. Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
Welcome to Cordkillers. The world of entertainment is turned upside down, and we're just trying to find out how to watch what we want, where we want, whenever we want. I'm Tom Merritt, and Brian and I are trying to find where the good stuff is. Where is it, Brian?
Man, I swear, I just had it out here. All the good stuff was all in a pile. It was all like delicately balanced, exactly how I like it. And then there was off screen a clatter, and I turned, and when I looked back, all of a sudden, all the cords got killed. We're all looking for the killer. That's not about who done it, because that's a JB Fletcher mystery. We're just here to find out how to watch what we want, when we want, on whatever dang device we please.
Well, we've got good news for you. Fox bought Roku, and we're going to talk about it in the supply run.
Supply run, supply run, supply run.
I'm a liar. Fox hasn't actually bought Roku yet. Fox said it has agreed to acquire Roku. As many of you know, these things take time. You can't just go buy Roku off the shelf. You know, you got to go through regulatory review and shareholder approval and all that stuff. But everybody thinks this will happen, and it will combine Fox's live news and sports juggernaut. That's how all of the industry has been describing Fox. They're a live news and sports outlet. They have other stuff too. But they will combine with the biggest platform for streaming and connected TVs out there. I was listening to the Town's take on this, and I thought it was interesting that they kept talking about smart TVs as a competitor for Roku. And I don't know if they just meant that Roku's boxes are still very successful, or if they forgot that Roku makes the operating system for a lot of TVs. But anyway, both these companies have successful ad-supported streaming services. So that's the synergy, taking the Fox ad juggernaut and the Roku ad juggernaut and combining them. You've got Tubi, which is an ad-supported streaming service from Fox. You've got the Roku channel from Roku. They say they will continue to operate those separately after the merger. Together, these two companies account for 14% of all spending on U.S. television in general. It's more when it comes to streaming, but when you just talk about television in general, they have a big chunk. Neither of them operates a Netflix-level paid subscription service. Roku has been the platform for everybody to play on, and then it's got its free ad-supported Roku channel. Fox has Fox One and Fox Nation, but those are both smaller in scope, and in fact, they don't promote Fox One on the broadcast channel. That's a Lackland-Murdoch directive, although it has been doing fairly well as a place to get news and streaming sports from Fox all in one place if you don't have a cable subscription. Roku founder and CEO Anthony Wood will stay on at the combined company and join the board of directors, and they expect the deal to close sometime in the first half of next year. So we won't see the beginning of this until 2027, Brian. But everybody seems to think it will happen. This is not a Paramount, Netflix, Warner Brothers situation. And although it's not unexpected if you were following the story over the past couple weeks, I certainly, a year ago didn't have on my bingo card, well, Fox will obviously buy Roku.
Well, and I think the biggest surprise, to be honest, the biggest surprise from my end was that Roku had very, very quietly been playing the very long game and was in a position where it was growing brand value for the Roku name. It had secured unbelievable access. It became a platform that all of a sudden that real estate was just phenomenal. And I thought, good job, Roku. You played the long game. I did not picture their end game being, now that we've revealed that we're extraordinarily well positioned, I bet somebody will pay for this access. And the moment, you sent me the story and I realized Fox, it answered all my questions. First question was, how come we hadn't heard about any of this? Number two, the answer to that is quite simply, who would be talking about it? What competition was there? They were not going to put themselves on the open market. They were going to quietly continue to make their brand very, very valuable. And of course, quietly, Fox, who had been largely on the sideline, part of the reason that we're hearing again and again that they are news and sports, that's savvy positioning because that's what they're strongest in. And so, yeah, don't draw in a deep breath and try to rattle off the 17 bajillion other things you do. Just accept the win that when it comes to news and sports, you are still king in that space. And with that being the case, then yes, if $22 billion is give or take. Whether or not $22 billion is a lot or little to pay for Roku, it's in the neighborhood. Give or take, Roku is worth that $22 billion. So from Fox's perspective, all they do is they press a button, they reallocate resources, and now they have an unbelievable amplification button. They get to shape promotions for whatever they want, whenever they feel like it. So yes, they get to say, we're not going to change anything, meanwhile reserving the right to change everything if they feel like it. They get to buy. They didn't overbuy. They didn't outbid anyone or get outbid by anyone. So they didn't do anything emotional or stupid or because they got trapped in it. This seems like an extremely savvy move, both for Roku and for Fox. I don't expect to see anything big for quite a while. I think we just see much more effective attention shaping going forward.
Yeah, and if anybody out there is saying, well, if you've been paying attention, you knew Fox was going to buy Roku. Yes, in the financial press, there was a lot of rumblings and stuff, but this was not, Warner Brothers is on sale, Netflix going to buy them level news. This was bubbling under if you knew where to look. And it was only recently that Roku even started to make noises that they were going to put themselves up for sale. I've seen some people say there's no reason for Roku to sell themselves. They're not losing money. Here's the thing. Losing money is not the thing that makes you sell yourself. It's your revenue stagnating. Right? You can lose money because because you're investing in the company and it's going to pay off later. That's always the ding on starting companies in their early days. Everyone talked about Facebook as, oh, they'll never make money. They just keep losing money. What a waste of time. And then Facebook, of course, started to do well and started to bring in billions of dollars and well exceeded the amount of money that they had lost in the early stages. So it's never about losing money. It's about, is your revenue growing? And that is where Roku was starting to stagnate. As Brian was saying, we covered the rise of Roku as a platform and then the stagnation of that, but then the rise of Roku as an advertising company. And then in the last couple of quarters, that started to look like it's beginning to flatten. So for Roku, partnering with Fox, which has huge ad money, makes a lot of sense. You can now, get those leveraging deals that you couldn't as the smaller player. For Fox, I think it's much more interesting because they have eschewed competing with Peacock and HBO Max and Disney Plus, sticking to these very niche things like Fox Nation and even Fox One. Fox One is a very limited offering. They're not trying to be the be all and end all to everybody else. They're just saying, hey, if you want the Fox stuff and you don't have a cable subscription, here's an option for you. We'll bundle in with ESPN. That's fine. And I think what they're doing with Roku is saying, we actually would like to be like Amazon or Apple TV. We would like to be the platform. We think selling the pickaxes to the gold miners is a better deal than gold mining, or at least it's a more consistent deal.
So here's an interesting reframe is let's take the language that makes sense to say. You could say that growth had stagnated with Roku, that it was leveling off.
All of the experts and Roku were saying. So that's where I got that from. So how are you going to reframe that?
Well, another way to accurately say the exact same sentiment, but in a different context, is ready for harvest. They are matured. They have reached peak saturation. They are not going to expand anymore. There is a right time to pluck an apple from the tree, right?
Yeah.
So think about this. If you pluck too early, here's a little riff. Here's a little preview of the kind of thing I'm going to say at our class, Tom. A lot of people think of a windfall as a good thing. Windfall's only a good thing is if you're a peasant because you can't reach up on the king's trees and grab an apple, otherwise they'll cut off your head. But if an apple were to fall on the ground, that's a good thing, so you eat it. That's not so great if you're the one building an orchard. If you're in that case, the only way you have a windfall is a big storm comes in, knocks all the apples off your trees too early. So you go to market with underripe apples and you don't make any money because you're competing with everyone. Meanwhile, you could take too long to pluck that apple from the tree. You could sit there on your porch being so proud of this orchard you've made while all of the fruit rots on the vine. You could wait too late. And so in this case, Roku, stagnating, you want to call it, I would say reached peak ripeness for the plucking, reached peak ripeness to sell at retail for somebody who's ready and believes in the marketplace and is ready to buy it.
Yeah, and I think that's a lovely reframing because it does point out that if you wait too long, the apple rots, and then it's not good anymore, right? So I do think I was responding to a few people who were mad that Fox is buying Roku. And I think there's a lot of emotions get tied up with Fox because of Fox News. But Fox itself is also more NFL, World Series, The Simpsons, the place where The Simpsons airs anyway, and all of that sort of thing. And I would certainly expect Fox to take advantage of the Roku platform as being a place to promote their stuff in the same way that they'll run an ad for a Fox show in the Super Bowl while they're selling the spots for millions of dollars to other people. But I don't expect that Fox will just take over the Roku interface and make it all Fox, because you make way too much money selling that ad space to others. And if anything, this is going to change Fox from being a very narrow focused company to being a very widely focused company. And its content potentially becomes a loss leader for them because the platform is the place where you make the money. And Roku doesn't have as much leverage as Fox has in getting the deals done.
Yeah, and remember that it's always easy to see the seen versus the unseen benefit. And the seen benefit is, let's say, not inherently obvious, like why are you stapling Roku to Fox? The unseen benefit is, think about them parking money. They're not losing money on this. They're not spending $22 billion. They're reallocating it in order to have ownership. They're purchasing options so that if 5 years from now they want to shrug and say, great, we'll have one of the top streaming platforms on the planet, then they could just do that at the snap of their fingers. But the time, think about this. We talked about the time, right time for Roku to sell, right time for Fox to buy. Because if somebody else had bought Roku or Roku decided to make a big play to compete, then all of a sudden the whole landscape changes. Because when you get down to that third, fourth, fifth place territory, that is extremely cutthroat. It is price sensitive. It is options sensitive in a way that the first, second, and third spots aren't. So I think savvy move, 2 out of 2. I think it's savvy for Fox to buy. I think it's savvy for Roku to sell. And
the other thing they said on the Town podcast that I found interesting is this is a reverse Comcast buys NBC. We are used to the pipes buying the content, right? Successful version is Comcast buys NBC. Less successful version is AT&T buys Warner Brothers. But we are used to that. This is the content maker buying the cable company. Roku is the modern day equivalent of the place where you get all your television, right? Because if you have Roku as your platform, you can use it to get all of your television.
Yeah, and keep in mind, there's also positive use of the technology. Like we could picture them.
Well, I wasn't thinking of that as a negative.
Sorry. Let me. I don't mean in that context. There's positive, proactive use of the technology, in that we can picture them taking Fox content and pushing it to the front. Less spoken is the negative use of the technology. Whoever Fox is worried about competition, maybe it's not so much about moving Fox to that first slot. Maybe it's more about moving a competitor to that third, fourth, and fifth slot, maybe just slightly off of the frame.
Yeah, and my point being, when Comcast bought NBC, they didn't shut down all of the other channels on Comcast cable and make it all NBC, right?
Yeah, but this is before Comcast did Spinco, right?
Yes, but I'm saying back in the 90s when they bought NBC, it didn't make sense for them to buy NBC and then say, well, now all the cable channels on Comcast service are NBC. The same way that it doesn't make sense for Roku to say all of our apps are now Fox, right? Or to not tell you about the other apps. So this is. And I really want to get back to what I think is going on here is Fox making a very savvy move to understand that they are the ones who will now control one of the biggest platforms, at least in the United States, if not the world, and they can sell parking places to everybody else. They've gone from being the outlier of like, yeah, and then there's Fox, I'm not really sure what they're up to like, oh crap, now we have to go to Fox because we want to continue to be on Roku and we want to get to that Roku audience. And advertisers are going to want to get to the Roku audience and the Fox audience, and now they can go to one-stop shopping to do it.
So if we made a quick game of remapping the broadcast channels from the early 90s to today, I guess Fox goes from a definite fourth place. I guess ABC, kind of, depending on how you squint, becomes Disney Plus, Hulu, right? And then
Right.
NBC, of course, depending on how you want to squint, is
Peacock.
Yeah. And then where's CBS? CBS is that Paramount?
Paramount Plus.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, Fox goes straight from fourth place to first place or second place.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how you look at it, right? If you look at it as Forku, or whatever the combined.
Forku. I love it. Foku.
Then yes.
The Japanese word for focus. An ancient tradition.
Which actually plays, they have a much more of a focused strategy now.
Yes.
Yeah. We have decided to change our name from Cordkillers to Cordkillers. Just a slight difference in the pronunciation.
Yeah, there's a silent one in the middle of one of those L's. One of those L's is a silent one. In fact, you know what? We're going to keep changing the name every single week until you, yes, you, the person who's listening to my voice right now, personally becomes our boss and decides the final spelling of Cordkillers. We've never been able to decide exactly what the spelling of Cordkillers is. We need one new boss to head on over to patreon.com/Cordkillers. And when you sign up for just $2 an episode, you'll never notice it. It means the world to us. You get the smug satisfaction and superiority of telling us how to spell our own show's name. And then you'll just hit us up at cordkillers@gmail.com, say, new boss here. It's spelled blank. And then fill in that blank.
Yeah. Sinewave has spelled Boku in the chat room for you in hiragana as well. So thank you for that. We now accept your contributions at patreon.com/Cordkillers and move on to the search party. There is a trailer out for Season 4 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which will premiere July 23rd on Paramount Plus. This is the second to last season. There will be a shortened Season 5 coming, and this will be the bridge to that season. I believe, if I remember right, they were shooting it all at once. Did you watch the trailer for Strange New Worlds Season 4?
I did, Tom, and I believe it's time that I could come out as the world's foremost expert on the watching of Brave New World trailers and the sussing out of vibes without, this is a classic mistake most other pundits make, is that they make the mistake of watching the actual show, so they're corrupted. Their knowledge, they have the curse of knowledge. They're know biased. How the actual show goes. I only know the trailers, and I will attest that compared to all the other Star Trek trailers, I continue to deeply appreciate Strange New Worlds' sense of pacing. It's plodding submarine warfare pacing that I just love it. It's like the way the thing punches, that slow motion, you feel it connect because it's slow to get there. And when the Enterprise moves in Strange New Worlds, it doesn't turn on a dime, nor should it. I really enjoy these trailers. I just want to watch trailers of all the content from now on.
Yeah, I think you're probably among friends in that respect. People just watch shorter and shorter stuff these days, right? I am convinced as I see more and more, they gave us the tidbit in this of Kirk and Spock together in a few more episodes. And as I understand it, the plan has been to take Strange New Worlds up until the point that Kirk assumes command of the Enterprise. So that's why we've been seeing Kirk brought into the story more. That's why we've seen Scotty come on board as an engineer. And we all know what happens to Captain Pike. So we all kind of know where that's going, but we don't know how Kirk gets involved. And so that keeps it interesting as we head towards that point if you're someone who follows the Star Trek universe. The thing that makes me sad, though, is they are getting rid of the team that's been doing Star Trek, and they're going to do a reboot, which means Strange New Worlds is going to lead up to the promise of a new show that reinvestigates the original Star Trek with a whole new cast that has proven themselves to be very enjoyable in those beloved roles. I it's not any disrespect to Leonard Nimoy, but I love the Spock that I have come to know in Strange New Worlds, and he's just as Spock to me as Leonard Nimoy's Spock was, which is a big feat. And I don't think we're going to see that crew get a chance to do that. It sounds like Paramount is just going to wipe the slate clean, and who knows what they're going to do.
Yeah. That although, man, we'll see how the world sits with our emerging relationship with synthetic media. Could you like we loved novelizations of other stories or the original stories, whether it's Doctor Who or the original series, what have you, your Star Wars expanded universe or whatever. I would non-zero chance that they got a lot of training material on Strange New Worlds, and that if the market will allow it to happen, I could see a very affordably created episode for episode reimagining of the original series with the likenesses of the entire Strange New Worlds cast. This is me, hoping for things again, but like I would say temper your regrets of things not happening, because I don't know, it feels like anything could be possible these days.
Well, I don't think the technology is the blocking here. I think it's the people in charge at Paramount going, yes, out with all of the things that started before we were here.
For now, yes. The pendulum swings,
Yeah.
We've seen, Tom, we're the old timers now. We've seen a lot of what's our new rule about Netflix? If they swear it'll never happen, then we believe it'll definitely happen. So what I'm hearing is a Paramount flavored version of
Paramount hasn't sworn that this will never happen. They haven't commented on it, but they have fired the people who've been running it. And they did say it'll be a couple years before we figure out what to do next. Which, yeah, you may be right. Maybe it won't be a couple of years. We also got a trailer for The Social Reckoning in theaters October 9th. This is the sequel to The Social Network, where The Social Network gets reckoned with by the bear. He plays an investigative reporter, Carmi, plays an investigative reporter who is looking into allegations that Facebook knows that it's harming everyone, and they're going to blow the roof off of it.
Yeah, I'm not in love with the oversimplification of an extremely detailed real-life news story still in the moment while it's happening. However, I like Jeremy Strong. Can't wait to see his Zuckerberg. I'll watch it.
And Lachlan Murdoch plays Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, I forgot about that. His voice is dead on. Jeremy Strong nailed the Zuckerberg voice because the trailer.
I literally, for a split second, thought that they were using archival audio.
Yes,
in that
me
moment.
too. Yeah, and then you see that it's Jeremy Strong talking, and you're like, "Wow, good job, good work." Although I don't know, maybe they affected his voice, but I don't think they did. I think he's just good at doing.
He's a very good actor. I don't know if you've gotten around to watching The Apprentice, but he did well in that one.
With Donald Trump.
Yeah, where he plays Roy Cohn. No, it's about Donald Trump.
Oh, it's a movie about it's not the actual series The Apprentice, because I was joking that I had seen The Apprentice. You know, the one where he goes, "You're fired" at the end. Right. You're talking about a movie about Donald Trump,
right?
That is called The Apprentice, which is very confusing and should be a trademark violation.
And with that, we drive past the exit for political talk.
You can't copyright titles.
That's right.
No, Jeremy Strong. Who's the guy that plays the dad in Succession? I'm horrible at remembering actor names.
But picture him cursing.
He was complaining about Jeremy Strong's process because Jeremy Strong is a method actor, and he apparently, according to this interview, is the kind of method actor that is like, you have to refer to me by my character's name when I'm on set and all that sort of thing.
Yeah,
and the guy who played his dad, much like the character, was dismissive of his son.
Yeah,
in that respect.
Wait, he's got a cool name too. Why can I not remember the name? I bet the chat will have it. Brian Cox.
Brian Cox. Oh, Brian Cox. Thank you. Yeah, right, because he shares the name with the astronomer. I should have remembered that. Speaking of the BBC, BBC announced big changes to Doctor Who last Wednesday. The Christmas special has been canceled. The showrunner and the producer, Russell T. Davies and Bad Wolf, have been canceled. They will no longer run the series. Apparently, it was an amicable separation, but still. BBC is now taking pitches in a competitive tender for season 16. That is something that it does under the revisions to its charter. It's got a duty to go out and have people bid to take over productions, and they say the show may not return until 2028, but Brian's going to tell me why AI will solve this.
Oh, no. I don't know about it. Well, in this case, they're not threatening to take anything away. They're just saying this is a very long timer. Like Doctor Who moves in geological eras where they're all like, Mesozoic is finishing, Paleolithic coming up. We'll see you when we see you. You've done this dance before. And it seems like I would assume there's less outrage or worry about this. How was the Russell T Davies Redux period?
It was okay.
Yeah.
I liked it. I know some people got mad at it for various reasons, some of which were legitimate and some I didn't think were. But it was not recapturing that original flame and making it better. It was bringing that same flame over and going, hey, you still like this flame? And I'm like, yeah, that flame's cool. I like that flame. But it didn't attract new people to the stuff. I thought they were great episodes, though. I thought there were some really, really good episodes and some excellent performances. Russell T Davies is a great storyteller. So they are strong seasons, but they aren't what was needed to like get people interested again. And I think that's why it's an amicable separation, is they all agreed like, yeah, no, we need to shake things up. We need to have something very new, which I think is what they were trying with Chris Chibnall before Russell T Davies came back. And that did not work for people as well. So this is probably what they need to do. Just reset.
Yeah.
Did you know Parade Magazine still does interviews?
No, but that's adorable. Yeah. I bet they still come in newspapers. Remember those?
I don't know if they do, but they're online and they like get really good interviews and apparently people read Parade Magazine online now. So that's cool. If anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, ask your parents about Parade Magazine. It's the thing that came in the Sunday paper, like literal paper delivered to your doorstep. Well, apparently Matt Damon told Parade Magazine he's open to another Bourne movie. The quote is, we're always looking to try to get another one of those because we loved it, everyone who worked on them. So there's always some attempt going on to write, to come up with a new story. So if you have anything, let us know.
Did you keep up with all of the Bourne, the Bourne iterations? That sounds like the next episode.
You know what? I think I did. I might have missed the last one that didn't have Damon. I can't remember if I saw that one. But we enjoyed, there's an action thriller theme to the things Eileen and I enjoy going to see. We like the John Wick. We like the Bourne. So yeah. What about you?
Really, to be honest, I watched the first one. I think I tried to like it and watch it a second time, not in the movie theater, but ultimately that was like peak confusing, way too many up close. Like somebody's punching someone. I can't really tell. I liked when they fought with the pen.
Did you turn it like many did into a 2-syllable word?
Boring.
Boring.
Oh, no, I did not. It was just noisy. I liked it. Yeah. I liked the beginning though.
I think I screwed up this next one.
Oh, you're talking about the Little House on the Prairie trailer, which
the Little House on the Prairie will come to Netflix July 9th. New trailer came out this week. So what did you think?
Quaint. The first trailer that we saw tickled a little bit of kind of the epic idealism of Lonesome Dove that I had really hoped it would be that flavor. But instead, this feels like if Lonesome Dove was a play. And that's fine. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. It's a little house. It seems like a little show for Little House on the Prairie. I'm sure it'll be quaint.
I'm going to have to watch it because it was must-see television in the Merritt household growing up. My sister had all the Laura Ingalls Wilder books because of the TV show. My sister has been to the Little House on the Prairie that you can visit in person. So she's going to ask me what I think as soon as it comes out. So I'm going to have an opinion.
You're going to have an
July
answer
9th,
besides I didn't watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Peacock is launching Shop What Happens, like watch what happens now, but for shopping. This show will have 10-minute conversations with Bravo celebrities, but also give you a QR code on screen to let you buy things from Target. It's a 5-episode series. So this is not QVC. This is not live streaming shilling. These are interviews. They're like not talking about the products all the time. But then, they put these QR codes up every once in a while in relation to something they're talking about. So it's weaved in better than the sort of clunky things that you might see. And it launches on Sunday, June 14th. So it already launched on Sunday.
Yeah, that whole world, I've actually softened. I think a younger version of Brian would have had a harsh reductionist crass consumer popularity contest reaction to it. But nowadays, the more I learn about humans, the more, Tom, it really seems like we're very hardwired to go out into the wilds, discriminate between good things and bad things, and establish pride and gain status in our tribe by coming back with really good things. And we're watching elite shopping athletes essentially express their opinions. Only you could play the home game, which I don't know. I'm kind of okay with.
Yeah. So I haven't watched these, but I suspect from the descriptions and reviews that are not savaging them, that people are surprised how much content is in them. And I'm like, maybe they did a really good job of saying, here's an interesting celebrity interview. If you're interested in Bravo celebrities, if you're not, this is not supposed to work for you. But if you are, here's an interesting snippet. And you're going to be like, man, I really like that shirt, because that's a thing that happens when people watch interviews. And now you'll be able to scan the QR code and buy it.
Yeah.
Netflix approved the 4 seasons for a 3rd season. And David Tennant apparently had a cameo at the end of the last season, and the buzz is he's going to join them for this season as a regular. So
this
we'll
is
get a doctor there.
the anthology show, kind of like stuff loosely based on the movie. Am I mixing it up?
Yes,
no, that's 4 rooms.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's this. Well, that could also be the same thing, but 4 seasons is also described by the words you just used.
Okay, good. All right.
Netflix is adding several new podcasts to its content library, including Sibling Revelry, hosted by celebrity siblings Kate and Oliver Hudson. Sweet 305 with Lele Pons, hosted by Lele Pons, along with the Martha Stewart podcast, deepening its video podcast partnership with iHeart Media. I guess this means that the podcasts they've put on, like The Breakfast Club and such, are working. So they'd like more of that, please.
Yeah. Ultimately, look, humans just love watching other humans and feeling like we're with each other. There are entire podcasts. Go ahead.
Which is it, Brian? Do we want to go out and gather things and bring them back for status, or do we sit around and watch other humans?
You know what? There's a book I'm reading called Just Evil Enough, and there's a great line, and I need to track down who said it, but somebody gave a flip answer that I think was very true, where he said there are 2 ways to make money: bundling things and unbundling things, which is, so both are true. Leaving the tribe and staying in the tribe are the 2 things that we want to do.
It's 2 sides of the same literal coin that I want to make from you.
Yes.
Yeah. Anya Taylor-Joy is joining the cast of The Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum. That is, of course, a movie that is being directed by Andy Serkis. Anya Taylor-Joy will play the role of Saren, a Sindar elf of the Woodland Realm, a trusted and lethal agent of King Thranduil. And when they show the picture on the Deadline story of Anya Taylor-Joy, you look at her and you're like, yeah, no, she is an elf.
Yeah, she looks very elven. In fact, I wondered if it
Yeah.
would be like inappropriate for me to point out like typecasting much, because I see.
Yeah.
Because you have to hire an actual elf just because she's an elf. Why don't you get flexible?
About time they cast an actual Sindarin in the role of a Sindarin. BB Studios Kids and Family has unveiled a 3-way partnership with UK production company Wheel in Motion, Japan's Kadokawa Corporation, and, of course, the BBC to develop a live-action television series based on Eiko Kadono's novel Kiki's Delivery Service. It was also turned into a very popular anime. The project is planned as 10 half-hour episodes to be drawn primarily from the first volume of Kadono's 6-book series.
Scale of 1 to 10, just how adorable is it going to be?
9.
9? Not quite insufferably adorable, but close.
Yeah, they'll pull up just shy of insufferably adorable.
You're like, I thought it was going to be too much, but you know what? They delivered.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey.
Okay, thank you.
I see what you did there.
I sold it extra hard. I even tried to find which camera to look down the barrel of.
All right, let's get to the buried treasure.
Most people want to know why they suddenly got rich.
Buried treasure.
So this is the section where we talk about things we have been watching. I was at Nerdtacular in Salt Lake City for Thursday through Sunday. So I was doing a lot of watching Nerdtacular, which you can watch on the YouTube. Go to Frog Pants YouTube and check it out. But I was also in bars. I was able to catch the stunning comeback of the New York Knicks thanks to the magic of both airplane television and bars having television. I was on the plane landing in Salt Lake City, and on everybody's screens, pretty much was the Knicks game, but everybody was like, oh, they're down by 29 points. This is over. I guess the Spurs are going to win this game. I then get in an Uber, drive to my hotel, check into my hotel, take my luggage up, call my friend, say, hey, I'll meet you down in the lobby bar in a bit, go downstairs, go into the bar, order a drink. My friend shows up. We look at the score and realize they have come back from 29 points down. There's less than a minute left. There's a bunch of Knicks fans in the Salt Lake City bar, and everyone, whether they care about basketball or not, is now transfixed on the fact that they have made this improbable comeback. And it was pretty great. I also watched the World Cup in that bar.
Yeah, dude, what a week to be just peripheral to sports. Like the Stanley Cup was going on. The World Cup has been happening all over the place. There also was a bit of a tussle on the White House lawn. I don't know if you heard about that one. The UFC thing.
Yeah, the ultimate fighting thing. Yeah.
A bit of a tussle. It was crazy. It was just in the atmosphere. I found out about the Knicks comeback by way of all of the riot videos I saw on Reddit. I saw New York rioting, and I thought, I guess they won. Or lost.
I saw no riots in person. How many riots did you see in person?
Oh, I don't know. Zero. I mean, Justin Robert Young is a laugh riot.
I have taken to pointing out real life experiences. Everybody talks about something they saw on social media.
Of
it's
course.
just a habit now.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what. I found myself really getting invested in, I think it was Ivory Coast versus Ecuador, and it was kind of remarkable to be sucked in, and like, well, now I kind of want to watch the rest of that.
That's how they get you, man. This happens with the World Cup. I've been watching the World Cup since I lived in Austin back in the 1990s, and it's always fun because there's always a cool storyline. There's always a Cape Verde that plays Spain to a 0-0 tie, which sounds incredibly boring, but is incredibly exciting because it's the story of why they're able to do this improbable thing. I've been soaking up World Cup from the periphery. I have found, however, that it is harder to remember when to watch it because none of my devices or information systems are prompting me to watch it. And I didn't realize just how dependent I am on like the Apple TV going, hey, the Cardinals game's on. Hey, the BC Lions game is on. And it's not, I did not set it up to tell me the World Cup was on. And I guess I could have, but it never asked me and it never guessed. That's a thing I think will end up not being a problem in the future. I think your personal agents will know you better than that. But it is a gap where I'm like, oh, right, there were World Cup games today. I could have had them on.
I think that over the next year to 2 years, there's going to be a fundamental shift in the way we consume our content. And part of it is going to be structural because ChatGPT is going to come to other devices where it's more deeply integrated. Meanwhile, Apple appears to provisionally seem to be getting its act together with Siri and on-device stuff, and you share all of its preferences. And with one word, you could just say to your phone, hey, keep me posted on the World Cup. And then you will know all of them. It'll nudge you at all the right moments until you tell it to knock it off and so on. I think that is going to be...
Or even better, it'll just know from looking at your emails and your searches. They're like, oh, Brian's going to want to know about the World Cup.
Well,
I'll just start.
And we've talked about this. We'll talk about it more in After Talk exclusively for the patrons. But I've begun to to think of the way we're all rewiring our brains and our relationship with devices and LLMs as essentially humanity is just becoming psychic. Like whatever these podcasts are, you and I talk and think, and some version of it goes out, and all of a sudden, the algorithm just knows to serve it up or serve up this segment of it as increasingly like shorts will splice out. But at any rate, we're all becoming psychic.
I get what you mean by that, and it's a very compelling statement, but is it disrespectful to psychics?
I hope so. Of course, I don't have a license to practice ESP in the state of New Jersey. They actually require psychics to have licenses.
Really? They license it?
Yeah, no,
That's
regulatory
amazing.
capture for ESP.
That's fantastic. Just south of the home of ESPN. Look at that. Well, if you got something we should be on the lookout for, please. Well, if you've got ESP, you don't need me to tell
ESPN
you,
is
or
just
email.
ESP North.
Our ESPN mail is cordkillers@gmail.com. There's only one thing we want to tell you about in the space where Brian and I tell you about what we're up to, because we're up to the same thing.
Yeah, dude. We are in the home stretch, and this is only an impulse buy at this point. Somewhere out there is one of our beloved friends who just wonders one of these days if they could just hang out, not at a convention where you're coming and going, but at an actual time that you could talk to both Tom and I and actually hang out and have meaningful conversations. Guess what? We're doing a 2-day class all about how to be an independent creator. We tell the unvarnished, completely no holds barred story of how we've made it, however we've made it. We explain to you the gravitational laws of the podcasting and new media universe as best. What do we know? We've only been following it for 30 years, living it deep in the trenches. There's some pretty good stuff in there. And guess what? We're going to do it in luxury at Wizard Academy. Head on over to wizardacademy.org. That's a 501c3 business school, which is super top notch. You get 3 nights of rooms. You get all your meals catered. You're going to get a tour of the world famous whiskey vault. You're going to get 2 full days of classes, and all you could drink beer, wine, and coffee while we are learning. It's going to be fantastic. Head on. By the way, you're going to go there. Remember, it's a business school, so everybody who's got a business, they're all there just to mercenary, learn our secrets so that they can make more money. By the way, if you have a business, you should learn all our secrets and make more money. But if you're listening to this, you're probably just wanting to get the experience of the best version of the class that we've done. So do me a favor. When you get sticker shock looking at the business class price, take a deep breath, cut it in half. Just add the word weird, WEIRD. That'll chop it in half, and then bring your significant other with you. So then psychologically split that number in half. Then have a great time. We'll see you in a week.
And just realize that you can get all the beer, wine, and coffee you can drink. And you're getting all the other stuff on top of it. All right, time to scan the horizon.
Send a scanning to avoid.
Scanning the horizon!
Getting back to Paramount, Paramount is rebuilding its tech stack to unify Paramount Plus, Pluto TV, and BET Plus into one platform ahead of the expected merger with Warner Brothers Discovery. That unified stack will bring together content discovery, user data, recommendations, and ad technology. This is, of course, following Warner Brothers and Discovery unifying their tech stack after they bought each other. And, of course, once they've unified Paramount Plus, Pluto TV, and BET Plus, if they successfully do acquire Warner Brothers Discovery, then they'll have to unify that tech stack with the new Paramount tech stack. So hopefully they're talking to some people at Warner Brothers in ways that don't violate the SEC laws in order to make sure that that will be an easy migration.
Tom, have you heard of a doom pile, something alleged to be done by people with the ADD? Are you familiar with this?
I've heard of this before. Yes,
Yeah.
Explain it to me.
Well, the doom pile didn't organize, only moved. So basically, ADD people, when they like to get things done, for example, clean a whole house, they start with what they can see right in front of them and move things. And it's like things that need to be decided where they go later, they say, and they put it all in a pile. So maybe 90% of a floor will be totally clean, and there will be just a big doom pile of to be sorted things. That's what this feels like. Like, you're going to have to clean house. You don't want to do the whole thing from the ground up. We're just going to get everything in a doom pile first.
I think that's probably what's going on. Gemini-enabled TCL televisions can now use the Gemini chatbot to adjust audio and video settings, troubleshoot pictures and sound issues, and more. So this is something that we've been looking forward to being able to do with LLMs, and now you can on TCL.
Yeah, and this is going to seem silly. Like, finally, I can say the words volume up, volume down, or whatever. But think about all those hard to recall things. Like you go to your parents' place and they've got the motion smoothing on, and you're like, good God, this is an abomination to 24 frames per second. And so you don't want to go through all the menus. You could just say it. Say, hey, make it look not dumb. Make it look like a movie. And it'll probably figure it out.
Yeah. And then Engadget has a really interesting article that might be useful for some folks out there. Netflix uses a variable bitrate codec for its streams, meaning if it doesn't think you have the bandwidth or the processing power or the device specs or the proper screen, it will downgrade the stream so that it keeps it flowing, right? Because if you've only got a 1080p screen and it's pushing 4K at you, that's a waste of bandwidth. It means you're going to buffer and you're going to stutter more likely. So why not just give you 1080p, right? Well, Engadget has a great article on how to access the settings in the Netflix app to determine what might be causing that downgrade. So if you think Netflix, I think, has got this wrong, I've got a 4K television, or, my bandwidth's great, you can do some troubleshooting, and sometimes you can change some settings and make sure that Netflix does not downgrade your signal.
Yeah. So I guess just ask a robot to find it for you. Or I guess
go to Engadget.com and look for it, or use our show notes at Cordkillers.com.
Okay, there we go.
That's usually what we say.
Yeah.
But, any of us can say that. If you would like to pause, please, we will, of course, resume with the chatter.
You got mail.
Daniel in Minneapolis writes, hello, Tom, Brian, and Amos. I feel like we are getting so close to sports streaming becoming perfect. This past Sunday, I wanted to watch Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final and the World Cup match between Ivory Coast and Ecuador. Both were on at the same time, but on different streaming services. Stanley Cup was on ESPN Unlimited, and the World Cup was on Fox 1. I thought, surely, since ESPN and Fox have a bundle together, you could link the two apps together like you can with MLB.TV and ESPN and get everything under one roof. If you're not aware, you can log into your MLB subscription on ESPN Unlimited's app, and then all your live MLB games load into the ESPN app, letting you use multi-view with both live MLB content and live ESPN Unlimited content at the same time. It's great. I was hoping this would be the case with Fox, and ESPN would allow that for multi-view, but sadly, as far as I can tell, they do not. Sadly, I had to have the World Cup game on an iPad until the Stanley Cup game concluded. Maybe in the future, with all the bundling that is happening, the games can be shared across streaming services, and we can choose what app to watch a game in. As always, keep up the great work, Daniel.
Man, all of those weird kind of patchwork fixes that we do, like, for example, if it was the 1980s and somebody wanted to get the game and didn't have the big screen TV, you could picture them, propping up a bunch of encyclopedias and setting the TV up in a kludgy way to get it just right. And then nowadays we're doing the same thing with iPads. I think we're just always going to have that, right? Like, we just have some tolerance for that amount of shenanigans.
Yeah. I think there's always a mismatch between what technology enables and what you can do with it, such that as soon as it makes something easy, you're like, well, great. Now that I could do that, I would also like to do this, right? I remember my dad on January 1st, back in the day, all the college bowl games were on January 1st. So the Rose Bowl, the Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl, he would pull in all of our TVs into one room so that he could have all three games on at the same time. He could have ABC, NBC, and CBS and be able to keep track of them. So what I'm saying, Daniel, is like, hey, my dad, worked for it. So just, stack everything up in TVs in your room. One solution I could suggest, which is probably not what Daniel wants to do, because I get why he's like, hey, I bought these as a bundle. Why can't I use them together? But if you do buy YouTube TV, you can do picture-in-picture of ESPN and Fox, right? Because you're getting them both through the same service. So that is a way you can do exactly what Daniel was looking to do. That is an advantage to buying from DirecTV Stream or YouTube TV or Sling TV, is that you get multiples in one place. And YouTube TV has been very good at doing the multi-box so that you can watch multiple things at the same time. I had a similar frustration to Daniel in reverse. The Dodgers game was on ESPN yesterday, and I was in the MLB app. And apparently, this is even crazier. Even though you can put your MLB subscription in the ESPN app, you cannot put your ESPN subscription in the Apple TV MLB app. So I had to go to the ESPN app to do that, even though I pay for both. I just thought that was odd.
Yeah. Guy.
Matt writes.
Yes.
Brian's like,
No,
I don't understand.
No. Actually, this is, well, I'm going to save it for After Talk. If somebody could remind me in After Talk, this is the look of Brian suppressing an inappropriate joke.
Okay. All right. Good tease to the After Talk. Matt writes, hi, Tom and Brian. I was listening to the recent episode in which you were talking about what YouTube creators might do, take breaks like linear television used to do during the summer. You mentioned Rhett and Link specifically and how they might handle that situation, and they actually do handle that situation in a specific way. Matt, thank you. As we were saying that, I'm like, I wonder if they do this. Maybe somebody who watches them can tell us, and Matt did. You're the best. During the summer portion of their show that they call Good Mythical Summer, where instead of being a daily show, they become a 3 times a week show. That way they can think more episodes, play them at a slower rate. Love the show. Keep killing the chords, Matt. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
Tim writes, I don't know if you've mentioned the spin-off Murder, She Wrote novels and mysteries purportedly written by J.D. or Jessica Fletcher. The bulk of these novels were actually written by a prolific author called Donald Bain, not to be confused with Donald Bain, the character in Macbeth and real-life King of Scotland. Donald Bain did a large amount of ghostwriting and had a lot of pseudonyms. He is reputed to have written all the Washington mystery thrillers attributed to Margaret Truman, Harry S. Truman's daughter, although he was only credited with the ones written after his death. His first success was a saucy tell-all book called Coffee, Tea, or Me from 1967 by a couple of fictional air stewardesses called Trudy Baker and Rachel Jones. For various reasons, I read a number of his books last year, and they are surprisingly good. The sheer number of books that he wrote make him look like a hack writer, but he definitely was not one.
Man, that feels like a rabbit hole. To be honest, here's an unsung benefit to the full experience. It prevents you from being addicted because you're committed to only try it this one time. You're only going to Burning Man once. You're not going to get into it and get addicted or any of that stuff.
My dad had the paperback of Coffee, Tea, or Me. It was on our bookshelf, and I was always, it's like names stuck in my head.
No kidding.
We got a few emails pointing out that For All Mankind is not dead yet. I Mandela'd myself, Brian. Like, in our March 24th episode of Cordkillers, I said, For All Mankind Season 5 comes back March 27th, and Apple TV has approved a final 6th season to wrap up the story, and then just totally convinced myself that, well, with Star City back, obviously For All Mankind is done. But it's not. We have a whole other season to come, so that makes me feel a lot better about that final episode.
I'm excited. I'm excited to dive in on that.
Bill near Athens says, what do they call series in the UK since they call a season a series? During your discussion about the gap between seasons, I kept thinking about the time when it was news that the creators of the TV series Westworld said that they couldn't maintain an annual schedule for their show and that they didn't know how Game of Thrones was able to maintain that pace. I don't mind TV series taking time for the sake of quality. However, I do find forgetting what happened in a previous season is becoming an increasing problem. But I'm really afraid that the TV industry is going to learn the wrong lesson from this study and hold back shows on purpose in hopes that the audience will be excited when a show does finally come back and hoping some people will rewatch previous seasons. When Katie Sackhoff had Ronald D. Moore on her show and asked him about For All Mankind, he admitted that he didn't understand Apple's reasoning for when it releases its shows. It was almost 2.5 years between seasons 4 and 5. P.S. For All Mankind is going to have one more season.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. Scott from Houston says, hey guys, I really hope the report about long delays between seasons helping the TV shows isn't heard too much by execs in charge. It has the opposite effect on me. If too much time passes between seasons, I tend to completely forget everything. That means I need to either rewatch previous seasons or watch a dozen recap videos on YouTube. The end result is I tend to wait a long time after the new season begins to jump back on board. Has to be a high caliber show for me to watch it immediately. I've dropped several shows because it just wasn't worth it. I missed the summer break between seasons.
Yeah.
And then finally, Sean says, just finished up the second season of Friends and Neighbors and enjoyed the zany, how is John Hamm going to get out of this situation of it? But it's ratcheted up to such a point that I can't imagine that it would be plausible for next season. It's pushing the limits of suspension of disbelief as it is. There's a scene where John Hamm is at risk of getting caught mid-daytime burglary, and he just walks out with only plot armor to protect him from being noticed. Seemed like lazy writing to me.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for this episode of Cordkillers. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. And we are live at twitch.tv/nightattack and youtube.com/modernrogue. Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific. I reckon we'll talk to you next time.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Where is my video? There it is. Hello.
Hey there, Tom.
Sine wave, I definitely appreciated one of the things that you said.
Just one?
Well, I appreciated many of the things. Oh, yes. When we were talking about, did they put an effect on his voice? When we were talking about Jeremy Strong doing Zuckerberg, Sinewave wrote, they did not affect his voice. They unaffected his voice. They gave it the least amount of emotion, the minimum amount. I thought that was funny. Look, it's 9 of 12.
My video's not coming through. I'm going to refresh. We're back.
Oh, look. And, well, don't look because this video hasn't refreshed. But Amos is here, too. Yay. Listen, Amos is here. It's really fun seeing people in the chat that I saw in person this weekend at Nerdtacular. It was a wonderful time. And it was good to see all the peeps, including 9 of 12. I know that it is very difficult to put on. I know that Scott Johnson wrecked his digestion and possibly other things trying to stress out about putting it all together. But man, it is so worth it. So I'm appreciative that he did that. And it was smooth this year. Like it was real smooth. It's never hard. It's never rocky, but there's always like, who's doing this? I don't know. Let's do this. And then you make it up as you go along. There was almost none of that this time. Like everything was clicking. It was good stuff. He has perfected it. Just take 9 years between conferences and, you end up making it perfect. Bobby was a superstar. That was key. Bobby being able to go around and organize things and help people out. KT Data was a superstar, getting all the tech working and everything. You were a superstar, 9 of 12. Amos was a superstar. A lot of people jumping in and helping and stuff. But you're right. Bobby in particular, I think, made the wheels greased.
Oh, man.
When he showed up with a 3-ring binder with every set diagrammed for tech, the people, any special things that had to happen, and then a list of who was in charge of the stage, who's doing the tech, who's doing the offstage management. That binder was impressive in and of itself. And
that made all the difference.
He didn't really need to modify it hardly at all through the whole thing because he planned it all out that detailed.
Because he planned it ahead of time and gave everybody a copy of a page from it. So we all could look and go like, oh, that's what's happening next. Great. Hey, Brian, Amos is here.
Yay.
Hello.
Hello. Are we ready to do the full experience?
Let's full it up. Wow, this is
Not
the
here for
end
the empty one.
of a 10-episode full experience arc.
Oh my God. Okay. Kind of sad.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
That it's ending or how it ended. I guess
No,
that's what we're gonna do
we'll
next.
talk about it on the segment.
Welcome to the full experience, where we watch 4 episodes of a television show to see if we can get a sense of what the entire run of the television show was. We watched the first, ultimate, lowest, and last episode, and we are about to conclude our watch of Murder, She Wrote with the final episode, the last episode, season 12, episode 24, Death by Demographics, which first premiered, I believe I said March last week. It's May. First premiered May 19th, 1996. I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
Man, oh man, Tom. Number one, let's take a moment and just take a deep breath and appreciate this is our most momentous full experience experiment so far. Can we, before we talk about this particular episode, just check in on how did we like the beginning with the beginning of Magnum, doing the bridge all the way through Murder, She Wrote? How do we feel about all that?
Yeah, this is a 10-episode full experience plot arc. Because if anybody is just like popping in now for some reason, we watched the full experience of Magnum PI, first, ultimate, lowest, last. Then we watched 2 episodes which were bridging the worlds of Magnum PI and Murder, She Wrote. It was like one of those special network events. So it was a 2-part story. First part on Magnum PI, second part on Murder, She Wrote. Then we went in and did the regular Murder, She Wrote full experience, which we're wrapping up now. And I had almost forgotten that that's where we came from by the time we got to the end of Murder, She Wrote, which I think is a testament to the smoothness of these shows. You weaved them in, you know, and there was some bumpiness in the way they weaved them in, but you weaved them in and then they weaved right back out again and have their own identities and their own character. What about you?
Loved it. Loved it. And I'm sad that this was a natural experiment and that there won't be many other ways to like if we wanted to do this again, I don't know where we would find this magic of 2 quality shows.
I mean, there's like the very famous Love Boat Fantasy Island, like that's the one that comes to my brain first. And that's about it. Yeah. I mean, I know there were other crossover events, but
Soap and Jeffersons and
yeah,
Maude and Golden Girls and
some of those are just spin-offs, right?
Yeah.
And so is that's same
That's
as
not the
this?
same,
Like
yeah.
Murder, She Wrote wasn't a spin-off of Magnum PI. A spin-off has a more natural way to connect, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Even Deep Space Nine had the Enterprise doc.
Yeah. Wow, we haven't done. Okay. Well, I would say that this is as novel as when we watched the Section 8. Is that what the Star Trek one was? Section 42?
Oh, it's
something.
Section 31.
Yeah.
Section number.
Whoops.
Section number.
Section redacted.
Section not remember.
Let's talk about this episode.
31. Thank you, G. James B. Okay.
First of all, forgive me. This episode aired 5 years before 9/11. So anchor that time and then realize they're still doing the Tonight on Murder, She Wrote, where they preview all of the twists and turns that we're going to see. Then we go straight into the opening credits where the first thing I noticed, Tom, was ironically in this story about Death by Demographics, about an aging out quaint radio station who has to adopt the trappings in order to stay relevant and keep up with the times and wears an ill-fitting suit. Unrelatedly, the opening segment has her typing on a word processor and printing out documents and typing out in a sans serif font murder she typed.
Yeah, which was pretty de rigueur in 1996, right? Like maybe she should have been on a full-on PC like the people at the radio station were for their sales software. But here's another thing that struck me as we were watching this. it's set in San Francisco, meaning 50% of the Murder, She Wrote episodes we watched as part of the full experience were set in San Francisco.
Yeah, or if we're doing the full thing, it's 1/3 Hawaii, 1/3 San Francisco, and 1/3 Cabot Cove.
No, because
Not even
actually
Cabot
we
Cove.
only got one Cabot Cove. Because the pilot episode starts in Cabot Cove, so you get some of it, but most of it takes place in New York.
Wait a minute. And then the highest rated one takes place on a bus. We never get to experience Cabot Cove.
We actually barely visited Cabot Cove. You're right.
How about that?
Yeah, we saw a little bit of Cabot Cove in the pilot. I think we see her get on the bus at Cabot Cove, right? In that episode. Then we get the spinoff episode that she isn't even in, that takes place entirely in San Francisco. And now we got this one in San Francisco. And I guess she's in Hawaii for the entire crossover episode, right? Yeah. No Cabot Cove. That I feel like is a deficiency, because I think most of the episodes are in Cabot Cove.
So, okay, a minor ding to the full experience, although I suspect we pretty much could pass the cocktail party test.
Yeah,
talking
I think
about
so
it.
too.
This particular
we
episode.
did get the spinoff, which was a recurring character, so we would know that guy. Also, a lot of beauty shots of San Francisco in this, and I was like, man, I don't know why San Francisco doesn't look that old in this episode for some reason. And then I realized, well, Tom, that's because you moved to San Francisco 3 years after this episode.
Oh,
aired.
no. Wow.
So the San Francisco that's fixed in my mind, because it was the San Francisco I remember when I first moved there, doesn't look that different,
Tom,
than this one.
I guess Scam School is 12 years after this episode. So not that far off. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
So
it's been how long since Scam School's first episode?
16, no.
So
18
this
years,
episode is
18
closer
years.
to the premiere of Scam School than we are to the premiere of Scam School.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's what we're time travelers, Tom. It's great. It's great
Yeah, we
up
are.
here.
Yep.
So
Anyway, good to be back in San Francisco.
This-
Also, I liked that the other two cities that the radio people had come from were St. Louis and Chicago.
that is funny. Yeah. I didn't piece
I'm
that together.
like, I haven't lived in Chicago, but I've visited it enough that I almost feel like I have. I'm like, yeah, I know all these cities. This is great.
Okay, so starting with the ending, I'm going to ding Murder, She Wrote for just being unsolvable. If you're going to play a murder mystery, can you at least make it possible for the player at home to figure it out? This is almost every episode when there's been a solve, it's been for a clue that was not put in front of the audience at all. Or a fact that everyone else just knew off camera. Or I remember.
Did we not see the soot smudge ever? I never went back to check.
I don't know, but they did invest a lot of time in red herrings. There's
of course,
the over aggressive sales chick, and then they set up the fact that the detective is allergic to cats, and he sniffs around the classical radio DJ, and he also, did you notice, sniffs around the sales lady, and that went absolutely nowhere. Now I watched this with Bonnie on the plane, and Bonnie had a good theory. She suspected that at some point in the writer's room, that was part of a setup where it could be revealed that the sales chick and the classical DJ had been hooking up and that's why the sniff cat thing. But that went nowhere. Also, somebody, you just flatly say, anyway, you've been stealing $46,000. And it goes to this whole scene where to fix it, he comes clean and says, we made a terrible mess. She mortgaged her condo. Here's $46,000 back. And he says, no, you take it. It's a bonus. And I'm like, I don't think that's the way mortgages work, because now she's going to be paying for your bonus for 30 years.
Yeah, she kind of got screwed in that deal. Also, isn't the radio station broke? Isn't that the whole reason that they had to do this crazy format change? Like, and he's like, no, $46,000 is nothing between friends as long as we keep it and she keeps her house mortgaged.
Yeah. Also, the least believable, the only thing less believable than that the radio dial goes to 114.
14. I assume that was to keep it from being an actual radio station, right?
Yeah,
They
and
didn't wanna-
that's one of those like FCC rules. This is back when the FCC mattered, and this was a broadcast television show, so they had to keep the FCC happy. So
it's like all the phone numbers being 555, right? It's
Right.
the same kind of thing.
But the only thing less believable than that is the belief that this beleaguered radio station that's dying from irrelevance just suddenly all of San Francisco renews its passion for classical music. The belief that the market
at the
would
end?
just totally change.
When they're like,
Yes.
well, I guess our new format guy was a murderer, so we're back to the thing that failed. Thanks, everyone.
Although this is, again, if I was in the writer rooms, here's just a little top spin, right? Give me one commercial break arc in which everybody, like it becomes public that the classical station DJ is suspect number one. Let everybody be convinced that there's a murder on the airways. So he's got kind of a bad boy mystique about him. And then that, like, all of a sudden the teenagers, like, we're just here for the murdering guy. What? Classical music is cool?
Pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Also, they presented the DJ and his producer as being incredibly successful in Chicago and St. Louis. And the only part that was really a grift was they got their foot in the door by what's-her-face, coming on to the station owners. But then their stuff actually worked. So I'm like, I mean, now you've got a success. Like, you don't need to do the grift anymore. Yeah. Like, you actually have provable things you can point to. You have rating successes. Like, you don't need to come on to the station owner. They'll just look at you and go, hey, yeah, actually, those are pretty good numbers in St. Louis and Chicago. I'd love to hire you here. That's how the world actually worked in radio in the 90s. So I found it odd that, like, no, we have to keep doing the grift because plot reasons.
Yeah. Also, it's like, look, I get that you hate rock music, except for at the end, it turns out you do appreciate rock anyway. It's like, man, that was a pretty good morning show you were screwing up. Like, why?
Well, yeah, that was the other thing. It's like they obviously, had the shock jock thing going on, and then a brilliant idea of like, keep the classical guy around and let them fight on air. People will love that. And they did. And it was actually, these two actors made it seem like, hey, that sounds like a pretty fun morning show. You got to see a little of the Winchester inside David Ogden Steers.
Well, and plus also wait, is David Ogden's the classical DJ?
He's the classical DJ. Yeah, he's Deems.
Okay, great. Well, so Deems, here's the other thing. I would understand him being disappointed if he was sacrificing his integrity or something, but he got massive integrity. His job is literally to crow about how bad music is nowadays. That's a dream gig. And everybody laps it up and they're like, what? And then meanwhile, what makes that work? And to be honest, this is maybe the uncanny valley of like, this is legit a good idea for a morning radio show that I want to tune in for. And it's like, he gets to drop massive credit by citing chapter and verse of every excellent thing out there. It's, I don't know. I liked everything except for the stark reminder that they were disrespecting the audience's desire to participate in the mysteries.
Yeah. Also, the whole premise of the format change was presented as our audience is too old, and we're going to lose them all. And they said yes, and replace them with 12 to 18-year-olds who don't actually spend any money, because that's the reality.
You and I are cursed with the understanding of actual demographics. And it's like, yes.
But then the son of the station owner says, I don't know, remember Lexus? They came and spent money with us. And I'm like, yes, car ads. That's where all the money was in 1990s was car ads. He's right. You should stick with the classical audience. You just need a better salesperson who's not stealing money from you and saying he's eating at top of the mark. It's probably your problem.
Tom, I was literally saying like, look, you've captured a very particular niche. They're going to be a hardcore audience. So you're not going to lose. You just need to cut costs. What are you doing?
Yes. Also, a couple other notes here. The Sarge from Chips running the running
Is
the
that
station.
where I recognized him from?
That's where you
Okay.
recognized him from. The death by slow poker too.
Oh my God, comical slow poker. Because again, I understand it's primetime television. You can't show a graphic murder or whatever, but it's just
Sure.
the symbolic poking, like, alas, I am dead.
Alas, poor York. I believe TT at one point was doing afternoon drive, but he was also doing morning drive, which I guess wasn't impossible. Some DJs did do that. That was pretty unusual. Also, the captions. I don't know if you had the captions on at the very end when he's playing Vivaldi, and he even says that was Vivaldi, 4 Seasons. As they come out of it, the caption said opera music.
Yeah, how about that Eddie Vedder name drop?
Oh yeah. Did you catch the little guitar riff version of the
I
Murder, She Wrote theme
did.
at the
Bonnie
very end? That
missed
was
it,
pretty
but
cute.
I loved
like
it.
that.
Boo, doo, doo, doo,
Yeah.
doo, doo. Again, bad luck when it's the old. Oh, in the metagame, when we first watched Murder, She Wrote, it began with the punk rock, this ain't your mom's mysteries. We're going to out. Like, they even made a stunt, remember, of doing a cheesy over-the-top play and then revealing it's a play. Like, that's old
Yeah.
mysteries. This is like a movie. It's all cool. And then, ironically, they became everything that they hated.
Yeah. Do we think there was any metaphor here of fights with the network? That they were like trying to get Murder, She Wrote off the air because it appealed to old people and they wanted to replace it with something younger.
I don't think it's actual fight or being mad. This felt like a wink. Like, we're aware, and indeed, like, I don't think they were writing it knowing that they were about to go. Let's say on hiatus, they were technically canceled, and they technically came back. 20 minutes later.
Yeah. Let's see. I think. Well,
I'm going to
yeah.
offer to you. I'm going to announce. First time in full experience history. Tom, remember at the very beginning of the Murder, She Wrote arc when I said I accidentally watched the wrong first episode, or I watched the wrong first 20 minutes of the first episode, and I was all excited because Keith David was in it and it had high production values. I'm going to go back and watch the first episode of the reboot, partly because I already paid for it. So I might as well watch the rest of it. So if you want to join me, I'll be on the other side of that.
Well, I'll be at your house on Sunday. We can watch it together.
All right. We'll kill time that way.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right. I don't know if Amos actually watched Murder, She Wrote this week. But I'm curious to find out. Amos, did you keep up with this?
I did.
And
is it me or did it seem like there was minimal Jessica Fletcher in this episode? Like, most of the episode happened without her anywhere near it.
Charitably, I would say that part of the reason, the good parts of this episode were because she got out of the way and let the story reveal itself. Like, she was very useless in solving anything except for announcing at the end who done it.
yeah, she didn't notice the soot smudge until later. Like, that was not a thing that she picked up on at first, which, a Sherlock Holmes would have been like, well, I do it the whole time.
Yeah. But yeah, I noticed also that she was pretty much a useless appendage in this story.
Right up until the very end.
And that she was instrumental, like a thumb.
Like a classical piano.
Yep.
I kept watching the time go by, and this is the first time I'm watching it, and I was like, man, this story still developing.
Yeah.
I still don't have any idea what's going on.
I liked
I think I enjoyed it. I
mysteries.
enjoyed it mostly because I was watching pictures of San Francisco and going, ooh, I know where that is. Oh, I remember that place. And also I worked in radio. So I was like, oh, that's that kind of, oh, look, carts. Yeah. So it was more the decorations that were keeping me interested than the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, an ignominious end for Murder, She Wrote?
Ignominious.
Yeah. Will it live in ignominy?
Anonymous.
An anonymous end to Murder, She Wrote. We don't know who was in it.
Yep.
Well, that is going to be it. I may take Brian up on watching that other Murder, She Wrote, and we'll let you know in After Talk one way or another. But our next watch is a mini-series. So we're going from our longest arc ever in the full experience history with 10 episodes combined between Magnum PI and Murder, She Wrote to our second shortest, if you count Section 31, but our shortest actual series. It counts as a series because it had 2 parts that aired on 2 different nights. We are going to watch the original V, the Alien series, parts 1 and 2. I don't even know how to summarize.
Not
exactly.
Not the TV
all of the
show,
arguments
not the reboot of the TV show.
and confusions. Yeah, depending on where you look, you will find this packaged in with other things. It might be with V, the final battle. It might be elsewhere, but you want the ones that aired in 1983, and it's just parts 1 and 2. And if you see Morena Baccarin from Firefly, that's the wrong one.
You've gone
that's
too
the
far.
reboot.
If you see Michael Ironside, you've gone too far.
You've gone too far. So that's all. That's the best we can tell you at Finding V parts 1 and 2. But we have found them, and we are going to watch them. Yeah. So do keep an ear out. That will be our next watch. V, just V.
V, the original miniseries, 2 parts, aired in May 1983.
The original miniseries is important. That's a good hook for being able to find it as well. You probably already knew all this if you're a patron because we talked about it on the After Talk last week. So you can get these episodes early. You get to find out how we determine what we're going to watch and all that good stuff by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Cordkillers. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye. Thank you, beautiful live people. Thank you, W. Scottus 1. Thank you, G. James B. Thank you, Pete 31415. Thank you, Sign. We'll be back with a great night in a bit, but for now, it's bosses only.